I know words. I have the best words.
This is All the Best Words with Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith.
She says, I hear you, I validate you, and I promise you that that's not going to happen. I'm like, well, thank you.
That whenever I hear you, I'm like, I'm not going to like anything that happens after this.
And so we got to, and if you're laying on your back, if you're at home, if you're playing the home game, if you're laying on the back, then, you get to 90 degrees is straight up. That's not a Heil thing.
I saw it.
And then you keep going back and you eventually should be able to get to 180 degrees. And we got to 127 degrees, which was great. And it was excruciatingly painful. And I'm trying to figure out, I was driving home, and I'm like, why? I mean, I understand I just got a new shoulder, and I understand that all that's healing. But then I realized with my bum shoulder, I probably had not done that in years.
Long time.
In a long time.
You're doing better. You communicate. When I did physical therapy for my shoulder reconstruction, I just screamed. And it was varying screams.
Right.
And so when it was like 127, I'm like,
Right.
And that it communicated very effectively.
I asked Abby at the beginning because I realized some of the things that I said in my first PT. And so today I said at the beginning, I was like, by the way, I feel as a courtesy to ask, do you mind cursing? And she's like, no, I don't care. And I was like, okay, good. Because you're going to hear a lot of it. Anyway, hello and welcome back to another edition of All the Best Words. We love having you here. My name is Matt Murphy, and I say all the best words.
My name's Cameron Smith. I write all the best words.
And after this episode, we feel like you're going to be smarter as a result of what you've heard here today. This is the way we do it. He brings a word, I bring a word. We talk about those words, and we get you out of here in about 15 or so minutes. And it's always about something going on in the news, pop culture, some sort of topical thing that is happening in our world. Just to let you know, I just had shoulder replacement surgery, and he just got back from Alaska. Which one do you want to be?
I don't know. You got some great drugs.
I did. I had to make myself. I felt like I was good though, because I had 2 weeks worth of the good stuff, and I weaned off after a week and just left them alone. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, because I wanted to get to. I'm trying to allow this shoulder to give me a new outlook on life, right? So, but I call it positive pain, negative pain, right? And so for so long, I've been involved in negative pain, and now I want to fully involve myself in positive pain, which eventually is going to lead me down to your garage in Nolensville.
You're going to bring in some workouts.
I want to
bring flip some tires.
I mean, when I'm done with the basic PT, I want to stack on top of that. Let's start working out.
I was with the little beast last night at 11 o'clock, and we were doing some hard truths with flipping a tire, because we had not spoken to Mom kindly. So we flipped tires together.
Nice.
It was very exciting.
Nice. So see, you can do that with kids. With dogs, the crate is a safe place, and it cannot also be a punishment.
Right.
Right? You can't mix those two things. Dogs get confused. With kids, the garage workout can be a safe place and also a punishment.
Yeah, so to any of my neighbors who are wondering what the sound of a monster truck tire flipping at 11 o'clock at night was, that's what it was.
Let's go. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let's get into it. 2 words, about 5 minutes a word. You want me to go first?
I do. My
word it's a hyphenated word. It's self-incrimination.
Mm-hmm.
Self-incrimination.
What'd you do?
No. Well, I've done a lot of things. And I've done a lot of things that involve self-incrimination. But this week, as we record this, Joe Biden's doctor made an appearance before a House committee attempting to investigate exactly how bad Joe Biden's mental health decline was during particularly his last couple of years in office, and whether or not there were those in the inner circle within the White House that was covering that up. And it obviously is a partisan exercise, because everything that happens in Washington, D.C. is partisan.
Sure.
We get that. But it's also a very important one, in my opinion, beyond that. And I think if you strip away the emotion of Orange Man bad, Democrats good, AOC evil, Trump, we love him. If you try to strip that away from your minds, regardless of what your politics are, we need safeguards and safety rails to ensure that a political machine is not willing to cover up the mental inability of a president of the United States to do his job. And that begins in figuring out exactly what happened. And as a result, Joe Biden's doctor sat before the House committee and pleaded the fifth. But that was his answer to everything. I plead the fifth. And it got me to thinking, the Fifth Amendment, and I don't pretend to be the greatest constitutional scholar, but I think I know a thing or two. And I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
The Fifth Amendment was designed from a judicial perspective to prevent compelling an individual to tell on themselves that in a way that would get them into serious legal trouble. In other words, Cameron, I'm accusing you of murder.
Right.
I can't get you on the stand, make you swear to tell the truth, and then say, did you
murder
murder them? I mean, I understand that it would make criminal proceedings a little bit easier in some cases, but that's just not the way our system of government works. We have to have the burden be on the state to prove the case beyond any sort of confession. I don't know that it was designed for this.
I don't know as a matter of professional ethics. I understand attorney-client privilege, but like doctor-patient privilege, that to me is a communication where if I'm that doctor, I'm going to say, hey, if you want to talk to my patient and they want to allow me to talk to you about this, then I will. But I'm not sure what crime that would be relevant, right?
Well, that was my point, is that you're pleading the fifth so as to not incriminate yourself, self-incrimination. Right. What are you suggesting could possibly incriminate you? What happened? I mean, so you're kind of open. The point is you're opening up a different set of questions.
Right. You treated Joe Biden. If you want to say, look, as a matter of professional ethics and the law, I can't speak about treatment of my patient without that patient's permission.
Right.
If you want to go to the former president and ask him to let me talk, then I'm happy to talk with you. But to plead the fifth and say, I don't want to incriminate myself, you're like, I don't even know what the crime would be.
You're kind of confirming the theories that many of us have that Joe Biden was so infirm mentally that there was a cover-up. You're kind of confirming what we think we know by not saying anything further.
And as a lawyer, I'm always cautious of imputing sort of a positive by you not saying anything. But here, this is a situation where we saw it with our own eyes. Like, I don't need a doctor to tell me that Joe Biden's mental decline was insane. Like the idea, and we've talked about this repeatedly, where the left was so surprised that they found out that decline was severe. Right. The rest, half the country is like, yeah, like we saw it. We knew it was severe. And the problem that I have with this discussion is, when is that line there? And I raise that for an important reason. If the president is at that level where they're not competent to hold office, they need to be removed. 25th Amendment, whatever mechanism, impeachment, to remove them. I mean, I guess that's high crimes and misdemeanors, so that probably doesn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to intervene, right? Well, what we don't want to have happen is a president, his staff is like, well, we don't like this guy, and he's had a couple slips, so now we'll do this. And that I don't want to have happen. And so where's the line?
Well, and I'm worried about the opposite, and that is what I think happened in this case, in that the people around Joe Biden well knew that he was mentally incapable, but he was on Team Democrat. He was on their team.
Yes.
And so they'll be damned if they're going to institute the 25th Amendment and begin all of that, because that involves cabinet members and the vice president and all of those types of things. So, there's two sides to that. But I would say this on the HIPAA front, forget self-incrimination and the Fifth Amendment for a moment. I do think that it's a different standard when it's the president of the United States. And between, I think there's one standard for Cameron Smith.
Sure.
Right? Hey, I'm going to go to Cameron's doctor and I'm going to demand to know everything.
It is critically important with the president's health is a matter of public interest.
Right. And I think that's why this is an important discussion. Democrats can pretend like it's not. They can pretend like it's a witch hunt all they want. But I think it's one that's going to continue. And it will only continue further and more broadly because of the fear of self-incrimination by Joe Biden's doctor.
That's a great word. And I think the right answer is we do this all the time with classified information. We don't want present health information about the president available to our enemies, right? We don't want that.
Sure.
But to be available to congressional leadership, to say in a classified briefing, we'll make the president's health care records available to you so you can understand the health condition of the president of the United States, I think that's pretty reasonable.
And I think maybe that's something that comes out of this. You pass a law by Congress. I think somebody like Donald Trump would be willing to sign it.
Sure.
Especially in his second term in office. Moving forward, they have that ability, that oversight ability.
Yeah.
All right,
like
Mr.
that.
Cameron, your word.
So my word is America. Just America. As in
Not with no A, just America?
Not America. America. Not as in the great nation we live in, but as in the new political party that Elon Musk is playing around with. I think you're going to see some super PACs created, and then you'll see sort of a momentum go or not go on this idea. I love it. I don't even really know what it's all about yet, but what I've seen is that there is a real odd bedfellows situation from folks that are pretty conservative, but they think the left is really woke. And some of the crazy stuff that's big government on the right, they're not into. I think that you could have a third party that would honestly draw from both parties right now. And I'm interested to see what happens there because as a Republican, and I call myself a Republican, but I'm really more of a conservative, libertarian on some things. And then there's the Republican Party. But the Republican Party lets me down all the time. The Republican Party says we're the party of limited government, grows government all the time, just differently, right? It grows one way, left grows in another way. I know that I don't love the woke pronoun crowd. Like, I'm not in that, but like the Republican Party has proven that it is a perpetual motion machine. And you can put another face on it. And you can say, well, this is MAGA now. MAGA's in control, not establishment. Well, you're still going to spend $5 trillion over the next couple of years. So sweet.
Well, whether or not Republicans in Washington, D.C. were serious about Doge, Elon Musk was.
Yes.
And whether or not they really believed that they could accomplish so many of the things that Elon, as the quote-unquote head of Doge, set out to do, Elon did. And he felt, and I think rightly so to a certain degree, disillusioned that they did not take. I felt disillusioned that they did not take a bigger bite of the apple. This was our best shot to stop the thing that is eventually going to be America's downfall if we don't stop doing it. And I get it, and I've heard the argument that it was the best that we could do in this circumstance. We're going to do more. We're going to separate the appropriations bills. We're going to do 12 of them. We're going to get to regular order. All of those promises that we've heard for
one
decades.
Cycle after the next.
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on.
So we have to hold the feet to the fire of those Republicans that told us that, and some conservatives. There are many conservative people, physically conservative people that voted for this bill.
Yes.
And I'm going to demand of them that they do what they promised to do. And if they do that, I don't think the America Party is going anywhere.
I agreed.
But if they don't, the America Party deserves every vote that they siphon off from the Republican Party. So I hear, oh, this is just going to ensure that Democrats get into the White House. Well, you know what? Worst case scenario, maybe so. And and some of the callers on my radio show bring up Ross Perot and Bill Clinton and I get every single bit of that. But if you believe, as I do, that if we continue to overspend as a federal government in the way that we are, that it's going to create financial doom for this country down the road, then something has to be done to wake some of these so-called Republican conservatives up.
Yeah, and I actually disagree with the Ross Perot comparisons because that was pretty clear on which side of the ticket the votes were going to come from. I don't think it's quite as clear in a third party right now that basically I would describe it as a not weird libertarian party that says, okay, well, here's some common sense things that government does. So they're not like the strident libertarian like Vermin Supreme with like the boot on the head, but it's a more libertarian leaning party that is socially saying, hey, we'll leave those issues to the states and just kind of right there in that sweet spot. I think it's going to pull a lot from both parties because the only thing worse than the Republican Party right now is the Democratic Party and how weird they are.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree that I think that there will be a fair number of votes that come from people who have always voted Democrat, who voted for Bill Clinton, who thought he made a lot of sense, who voted for Barack Obama. It was earth-shattering and historic, and now the Democrat Party's like, what? I mean, what?
Right.
Why are we showing our wee-wees in parades and that kind of thing? Right. So I get those people. I do think that it will pull a lot more from, more from the Republican side, but I don't even care. Because the point is this, if this is the wake-up call that you need to let you know that we are serious about all of this, then you either do what you've been promising that you're going to get to, or you don't.
The only sides that we have right now are us and Congress. Like, the idea that this is like a liberal and Republican. No, on spending, they're the same. Mm-hmm. They just keep doing it.
It's just they spend on slightly different things.
Right. And they're like, well, we're going to we'll cut your taxes. But we're still going to spend. Oh, we're going to borrow money. We're still going to spend. We're going to tax the rich and spend even more. And we know the narrative. We've heard it. And so I love the idea. I think, being able to pick on Trump did this well. He picked a political hostage and took him out, like Mark Sanford and some of those folks. I think Elon Musk has got to build a machine, get enough folks on board, pick a target, take them out, and show that at least the effort is serious, and then we'll see how it goes.
And I believe, the old saying that, the rising tide lifts all boats, and competition, iron or steel sharpens steel or whatever it is. And I think this is that moment that you either get better and get busy and do better, or you don't, and you bear the consequences.
Yep.
I love the word. I love everything about it. And I love this radio podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Read Cameron Smith on the regular. Listen to me on the regular. And we'll see you next time.
See you.